Episode 4 Tutorial 3. Dungeons and Stones. I am an expert. You can recite what kind of monsters come from, what habits they have, and what their weaknesses are, without even thinking about it. Based on this, I made my final judgment. If the barbarian's body and my knowledge are combined, I can survive even in the labyrinth. At least back then, I sincerely believed that. As soon as I entered the labyrinth, my eyes went dark. It's not a metaphor for the future, but literally nothing is visible. Maybe I won't notice if someone puts an eye patch on me now. If so, it won't make much of a difference. Fuck. It feels like being hit hard in the back of the head. The savages were all carrying only one weapon, so I didn't even have a doubt about this. Originally, there shouldn't be any need for torches on the first floor. This is because the crystals attached to the wall act as a light source. Of course, there is also a dark area on the first floor, but except for the outermost part that leads to the second floor, it is only a small part. Did I just fall there? I quickly hypothesized. When you enter the labyrinth, the starting position is random. Of course, the words are random, and there is no such thing as being thrown out in a place like this. Even if you start from the outer periphery, there is always a shining crystal nearby. However, this is not the world in the game that is simply seen through the monitor. What if those were all conveniences given to players by the creators? What if, in reality, there are also cases of dogs being caught as starting points in the dark zone? Then I can explain my situation now. No, it must be. If the entire first floor was like this, I wouldn't have the confidence to survive even one day. Still, calmed down a little after tidying up. Fortunately, my eyes seemed to have adapted to the darkness, and it was much better than before. Even so, only the outline can be seen. This is not a hopeless situation to the extent of biting one's tongue and dying. Let's check it out first and move on. Aren't you alone now? Status window, equipment window, character information, status inventory. It's not okay either. Well, I wasn't expecting it anyway. Let's go. Holding a shield in one hand and a wall in the other, I move forward. The speed is slightly faster than crawling. Isn't it? Maybe crawling is faster, but you can't speed it up any further. Is it? Dangerous. Suddenly, a sharp pain flared up in my ankle. My nerves go crazy with the pain I've never felt before. But in the meantime, I figured out the situation once. What's wrong? The answer came quickly, even without a battle log. The character stepped on a goblin trap. Fuck, I stepped on a trap now. What is patching? It comes out without thinking. The shield gave me a sense of psychological stability. But instead, it covered a large part of my view. If I had just put my shield on my belt and focused on looking, I might have found the trap. You can't see it anyway, so what's the use of a shield? I had to take care of the truth rather than mental stability. Shit. Turn off. Hey. His hair went white. I want to scream right now. But desperately persevere. I don't know if the situation gets better by screaming. Because I know for sure that it makes it worse. Thump 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 thump. My heart beats like crazy. Whoop whoop whoop. He pressed his lips together and forced himself to breathe. What I have to think about now is not how sick and hard I am right now. There is only one monster on the first floor that uses traps. Only goblins. And he will definitely be nearby. Quote. Reflexively raises the shield and covers the head. Then stop breathing altogether and focus on your hearing. There is no sound right now. It is still as if time has stopped. Are there any? I don't know. Maybe. Because there are times when the seat is empty or there are cases like that. Even goblins would be shit. A damn thing I seriously don't even think about. I sighed and threw the creeping hope out of my head. There were two reasons. However, there is a difference between being positive and being optimistic. What I need right now is a negative mindset. Quote. If you're not sure, assume the worst. The goblins heard my screams. He's hiding in the dark, waiting patiently for me to run out of energy. That's why no sound was heard. Because it was like that in the game too. If there is a trap, there must be goblins around it. Whoa. I slowly let out the breath that had stopped. Anyway, it's a very quiet environment, so if you don't relax, you'll be able to notice the approach. First, let's start with what I have to do. After lowering the stance, open the trap with both hands and pull out the foot. Then, tear off the hem of the pants, take off the shoes, and apply strong pressure to the injured area. I decided to throw away the shoes that were rags. In fact, even calling them shoes was ambiguous. Because what I was wearing were sandals that were close to flip-flops. Fucking barbarian bastards. At least, if I had only worn leather boots, I wouldn't have been in a state of paralysis like this in one trap. What the fuck am I thinking right now? I find myself not being rational and my head gets cold. Let's not be pathetic anymore. No matter how much you curse them, the situation you face will not change. In the end, it was my fault for not looking at the floor properly. So stop whining and check your body first. This is really big trouble. I can't feel any sensation in my right foot anymore. I can feel the heat, but even that is getting dull. I know you're hiding, so come out. I muttered quietly. Still, beyond the darkness, I couldn't feel the slightest sign of popularity. So I slowly moved forward. Turbuck. One leg is sore, but the pain is not as great as expected. I think it's because of the paralytic poison. I don't know if I should call this a good thing. Come out, you fucking bastard. I didn't hesitate to taunt them and kept moving forward. Because time is not on my side. If you have to fight, the sooner the better. Injuries are also injuries, but the possibility that he is waiting for his comrades cannot be ignored. Aren't you coming out? Of course, this is all just my delusion, and in fact there may not be such a thing as a goblin. Then I'm going to step on a trap by myself and become an idiot doing all sorts of live shows. But what does that mean? Even so, I want to be a survivor. Then why don't you just stay there? I'm going. Speed up. It's a bit faster than crawling, but I feel like I'm running a marathon at full speed. Step by step. As I was walking too hard, my right foot started to throb. Right, One of the two. Either the effect of the paralyzing poison has expired or the pain has become so severe that even that is not enough. Come to think of it, neither is bad. If the effect of the drug is over, that's fine. If you look at the feeling of pain, wouldn't it be possible because nerve cells are alive? No, but why am I only positive in this way? Well, I don't even want to think about it. I don't even have the brains to do that. Your mother goblin. Words come out of my brain without any filtering. Is it because you shed so much blood? I feel like my brain has been poisoned with alcohol. Your father is a goblin too. Of course, I spit out as soon as it came out, but my feet didn't stop. So you're a goblin too. It was then that I heard the sound for the first time. It was clearly a small sound, but it sounded very loud to my ears when I was concentrating. Chalk. Finally, he showed his presence for the first time. Why can't you stand swearing at your parents too? Of course I know that's not the reason. It wasn't even cursing in the first place. The sound came from behind. It would be more correct to say that I moved my body inevitably as I got further and further away. I sped up more. As a result, his footsteps became faster. Chalk. The sound of his steps that became clearer than that was unusual. Every time I walked, I heard the sound of something sticky sticking to a smooth surface and dropping. Even though I knew the setting that I was less than 1 meter tall, I felt the pressure as if a huge monster was chasing me. I kept talking to him even if it was to get rid of my fear. I am a barbarian. If you can only induce them in close combat, you will never be defeated by goblins. Don't just follow me, come Drew. Fuck you. For that reason, he continued to provoke him, but he just kept following him while maintaining a certain distance. He seemed to have no intention of hiding himself anymore. Gook gook gook. It sounds close to howling, but I can feel it for some reason. Grr. He's giggling now. They are genuinely happy to see their prey bleeding to death. I'm hoping I'll hear that and be afraid. Smart kid. Okay, a change of plans. I stopped, and stumbled and fell to the floor. Puck. The forehead hurt as if it would break when it hit the rock, but it didn't make a sound. From now on, it's a battle of patience. If you think I'm down and approach first, I win. If I really fall down before then, my defeat. That's right. I decided to believe in the toughness of this body, having walked a distance of about 300 meters with my feet broken. The sound of his footsteps gradually approaches. It's slow enough to make you yawn. Even though the prey is down as hoped for, he is suspicious. Why is a crazy goblin so cautious? Cursing comes out of nowhere. Goblins were the weakest mobs in the game. They used poison and set traps, but other than that, their combat power was poor. But what about the goblins he actually faced? Chalk. It wasn't an opponent to look at funny at all. I realized why the village NPCs talked so much about the goblins' cleverness. In my experience, these guys are several times more intelligent than the savage cubs. Chalk. He stops walking around the edge between 5 meters and 10 meters. Why? The car. I was wondering why. A dull shock is transmitted from the shoulder. Took. Deguruer. What? Did this Chewy threw a stone at me? Couldn't you throw it until it turns into blood? Gur up. Contrary to my concerns, he let out a howl of joy. As there was no reaction even after being stoned, he seemed to think that I was dead. Chuck 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 chuck. He quickly approached me. I could feel how excited he was from running. I was excited. I calmed down and calmly measured the distance through the sound. And when I judged that I was right up close. Damn. I jumped up and stretched out my hand toward him. It was faster to reach out when it was time to pick up the shield and strike. But I immediately sensed that the plan had gone awry. This time, there were 2 reasons. First of all, the distance to him was about 1 step farther. And his movements were much more agile than expected. Quote exclamation mark quote. He pulls his back and backs away. I can't see it, but I felt that way. I instinctively realized that I had missed it. What the hell should I do now? I rolled my head and prepared my next plan. But at that moment, my body moved on its own. Quote ellipsis question mark quote. It was a truly strange sensation. My eyes were still dark. But I intuitively knew where the goblin had run. When I realized that, my hand had already turned its trajectory and was moving towards it. That's right. I felt a grip on my fingertips. It didn't matter if it was my wrist, ankle, or neck. Quote. Ah. I screamed and slammed the guy to the floor. Quajik. There was a cracking sound. But I couldn't be relieved, so I immediately stepped on top of his upper body. That's great. Now the situation has changed. Chew. Quote. Before long, it stopped moving. And shaw. Of the dust flew. Unusually, it was a glowing dust. I stopped my fist. Before I knew it, the goblin was sitting on top of me. S body was splitting into small pieces and flying around. I was really dumbfounded. Aw fuck, is this the same again? Please, I hope you decide on one. Is it a game or a reality that keeps being similar? I'm confused about which beak to match. The goblin has been defeated. Express +1, soon after. The goblin's body disappeared without a trace. Feeling dejected for some reason, I picked up a small stone that had fallen there. I have acquired a 9th grade magic stone. It is not strong, but faintly. It was a magic stone that became currency in Dungeons and Stones. How much was this? I immediately remembered. A piece of bread. The average value of the magic stones that goblins spit in the game. For some reason. Laughter leaked out. Quote. Is this the only thing you got after trembling with that shit? My complicated mind feels a lot more refreshed. It's more like a strange feeling of laughter after crying. A lot. Dead. Monsters disappear leaving behind drop items, and in the city out there, real heterogeneous people live in harmony. This is definitely such a world, but there won't be any confusion again.